What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. And today we have a very special guest, 2023 Iowa and wrestling commit. We got Ben Kueter. Ben, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course, you were somebody that we had to get on. Obviously a guy of your level, world champ, four-time Iowa State champ. You've kind of done it all in the sport of wrestling.
Heck
Before
yeah.
he's even stepped on a college mat.
That true. I think a lot of people are looking at his stats and like this kid is 18 years old. He's not even put on a college single yet. So we're excited for the future, man. We think you're the making of the new generation of heavyweight. We've seen it a little bit with some of the guys nowadays that kind of pushed away from that big like 270, 275 look and slow Greco-esque wrestling, and you're bringing it in, man, with that athletic heavyweight build. We need to see a backflip out of you, I think. I think that we need another heavyweight backflip.
Yeah, well, actually, after the state finals, a bunch of my friends wanted me to hit a backflip, but I was too tired. I don't know if
Could
I
you
could have
do
got
it?
up there.
Could
Yeah,
you do it back? Yeah.
yeah, I can hit a backflip.
Figured. So before we get started, just want to let everyone know, did just drop our new merch line recently. You can go check that out. Linked in the Instagram bios, me and Matt, linked in the bottom of this video. So Ben, let's kind of get started here. Who was somebody influential in your life that kind of got you into the sport of wrestling, and how did wrestling start for you?
Yeah, so it was kind of a weird start for me. Both my parents played basketball, they track, baseball. Like they never really had any wrestling background, I guess you could say. So it was just me and my brother kind of kicking the crap out of each other in the living room when we were young. And finally, my parents were like, let's send him to a club or something. And after that, I mean, we kind of just got rolling and it took off. And now I'm here. But yeah, I'd definitely say somebody I looked up to growing up was probably Brett Metcalf. He actually came to my birthday when I think I turned like 9 or 10. So he was definitely one of the guys I looked up to growing up.
100%. And I feel like, your whole life you've been an Iowa Hawkeye fan. So for you, was the we'll kind of get into your recruiting process in a little bit, but I'm sure having him come to your birthday as a little kid was pretty exciting, being a Hawkeye fan.
Yeah, it was sweet. I was actually playing football in the front yard with all my friends, and then he pulled up, and I was like, "Is that Brett Metcalf?" And sure enough, it was. So
That's
it was
awesome.
pretty cool to get to talk to him.
So in your early career wrestling, was your success as dominant as it is now? Were you a kid that was out winning pretty much every tournament you went to?
Yeah, I mean, I probably did a little too much when I was a kid. There were some weekends where I'd do two tournaments, sometimes even three, hitting a tournament on Friday, then doing Saturday, Sunday. So I definitely would say I took it to the extreme, but I won your Tulsa Nationals, and I think I won that once, and then preseason nationals. And so yeah, I definitely would just say I've been a competitive kid since the beginning, and that's helped me succeed, I guess you could say.
And
100%. So
dived with both feet in, man. Just jumped right into it.
Yep.
So obviously talking about high school, you wrestled at City High in Iowa, and you've kind of been that guy, Mr. Iowa, I like to say, because talk a little about what City High has done for you and how you think your success has been so great. Talk a little about the coaching staff and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, just to start, I mean, yeah, it's just has a rich history of wrestling. I mean, you got Jeff McGinnis who went there, and then there's a couple other guys I think that went to City High who made a world team. So it's a pretty deep history of wrestling there, and just being coached by Corey Connell. He wrestled at Iowa for a year, and then went to Wartburg. But I mean, he's a man. He turned me into the wrestler I am today, and just as well as the person. So I was super grateful to be able to be coached by him and just be surrounded by that. I mean, it's near in Iowa City too, so it's kind of hard not to love wrestling. So, but yeah, just great coaching, great atmosphere, just everything's great.
So you
Yeah,
go
and
on
I
and
don't think many people can say they were undefeated.
Yeah, no, it was it's definitely crazy to think about. I don't know. I think it's hit me, but like it still kind of hasn't hit me.
yeah, and obviously you're on to bigger and better things now. So, you win 4 state titles. Was that something that going into high school you kind of knew you were capable of doing?
It was something I wanted to do. Not sure like if I could. My freshman year, I actually broke my leg in 4 spots during football. So I didn't wrestle till about 2 or 3 terms before districts, which qualified us for state. So it was something that I always wanted to do, and it was always a goal. But once that happened, it really was a big gut check, I guess you could say, to well, it's your time to do it now. And so I just kind of had to nut up and finish off the season and get it done. So, but yeah, it's always been always a plan. I mean, it's everybody's goal. It's your goal going into college to win 4 NCAA titles. It's your goal going into high school. So it's always kind
100%. 100%. So, you know, good question here to ask you. What do you think was more special, winning your first or your fourth state title? What do you think was more special to you?
I would say first, just with how much I had to go through that year, not knowing if I could wrestle, just not being able to be on the mat for half the year, and just being able to bike and I think that changed my wrestling a lot because I think I was getting a little burnt out, to be honest. Just it was such a hard grind, and to have to take probably 2 or 3 months off, it was tough being away from the sport for that long. So I guess that really helped me develop a love for the sport again. But yeah, definitely my freshman year because I actually wrestled another freshman in the state finals at 160 pounds. It was Tate Nectarborn. So me and him are good friends. But yeah, it was definitely my freshman year, I would say.
Yeah. And obviously, during the time of you being in high school, you go ahead and mess around and make a world team and win a world championship. So talk a little bit
Yeah.
about Worlds and what that tournament was like going and kind of the difference for you wrestling high school to now wrestling at the freestyle level.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crazy experience. I thought, well, so at trials, I thought I was gonna have to wrestle Christian Carroll. That's who I was training to beat. That's who I was getting ready to wrestle. And he just showed up for Greco, didn't show up for freestyle. So I mean, it kind of threw me off a little bit, but it was fine. I was sitting in the finals either way, so it was all right. And I wrestled Pettigrew and beat him both matches, and then made the team. And I mean, it was a great experience. I had to go to Pan Am's too. That was a little sketchy. I had to room with Nick Feldman. I don't think our door locked really. My feet hung off the bed. The food wasn't the greatest. But I mean, it's Pan Am's, right? It's a good experience. You have to go and do those things. And
I
Bulgaria,
don't think it matters if your door locks. You and
I was
Nick
about to say,
Feldman in a
I
room
don't think I
together.
would want to
Who's
go in that
coming in
room.
there?
Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
funny.
Who's breaking in
My
thinking
mom
that's
was
a good
joking about
idea?
that. My mom was joking about that. She was like, "Yeah, you walk into a room and you got Ben Kueter and Nick Feldman. I don't know if I'd stay in that room too
Yeah,
long if
those
I
are
was
two people I
trouble."
wouldn't want to walk into
I
a
don't
room
care if I have a
unannounced.
weapon. I'm turning around.
Yeah.
You
You
kidding
got
me?
you got Ben Keeter and baby Brock Lesnar just sitting
Yeah,
in the bed like I'm gonna back out of that room. No way.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, no, Worlds was a great experience. I think the hardest thing was getting used to the time change over there. So, I mean, you go to bed at 9 o'clock there, and it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon here. You know what I mean? So you go to sleep for a couple hours, and your body just thinks you're napping in the middle of the night, not being able to get to sleep, and just. But yeah, I mean, it was a great experience being able to see like all the other because we all stayed at the same hotel. All the countries did, so it was cool being able to see how different countries warmed up and how they practiced and what they did and what their routines were. And but yeah, I mean, it was great. It was a great experience, and super grateful for that.
Was
Yeah, I
that
mean,
different for your prep? Like that time change, like did you do anything really different with either your diet or your prep before?
The food was actually really good there, but no, my preparation was all the same. I was aware there was going to be a time change, and I just had to deal with it. I got off the plane and got a workout in, and I actually felt pretty good getting off the plane, getting that workout in. But then the next day we got another workout, and that's when I felt pretty sluggish and slow and didn't feel the best. But I had to get a hard blow in, and then after that, I knew I'd feel great.
yeah, man. So obviously we got to talk about it a little bit. We got to talk about football a little bit, man. So
Mhm.
you have, become the number one wrestling recruit in the country. You're that guy. You're number one. And as well as that is you make the Under Armour All-American team, which is what that puts you at top 100 in the country in all players.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah. So
I'm not
you're
sure.
not just number one in the country for wrestling, but you're a top 100 football player in the United States. So talk a little about football, man, and how football has affected your wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny talking about the Under Armour game. I was actually on my way back from Bulgaria. I was sitting in the airport after Worlds, and I get a text from the guy who runs the thing. He's like, "Hey, you gonna be able to sneak away during the winter break for a little bit?" And I was like, "Heck yeah!" I mean, who wouldn't want to play in the Under Armour game? It was a great experience. But yeah, I've kind of the same as wrestling. I've just played football since I pretty much could run, and so It was, I think, third grade is when I started doing that, and I started tackle in third grade. So it was just starting it from the beginning, I guess you could say, and just yeah, I mean it's great. And so my freshman year, played freshman, that was good. Played sophomore team actually, that was good. Then my sophomore year is when I started playing varsity, and then the year after that we got a coaching change and made to the state semis. So it's a great experience, man. It's fun playing here in Iowa City.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of people can say they do both sports for as long as you're doing them. I mean, everyone I think has played football at some point in time in their career, but for you to play football and wrestle and just be elite at both and then go to the college level and do both is
Yeah.
so impressive.
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I think the biggest thing with that is just the breaks from other sports. So, like, I mean, wrestling's a grind and it's tough. It's hard to do year round. I mean, it's just hard on your body. So, to be able to take a break from that for 3 months and go play baseball in the summer is something that's really helped me out. And then, same with that, baseball gets annoying, and then I want to go do something else. So it's football, and then I'm over football. Okay, now it's wrestling season. So it's always been a good balance, and my family makes it work. So just super grateful for that.
Yeah. So, I mean, talk a little about your support system. You've been talking about your family a little bit. Talk about them and how, I mean, they've taken you all across the country to wrestle. They've taken you all the way out to, they've been, put trust in people to take you all the way out to Bulgaria and all these different countries. So talk about your support system a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's great. My parents, I mean, like I said, when I was younger, they take me to 2 or 3 tournaments on the weekends. Like, I mean, maybe it might have been a little too much, but they didn't know any better. They were just getting started, so we were just going right into it. And like I've trained at Seabolt for a long time, still do sometimes, and that's about a 2.5 hour drive. So it's a lot, man. Too, like it's a support system I have in Iowa City. Just everybody. I mean, after I won Worlds, it was my phone exploded. Like I had to put it away just with all the people that care about me and how I represent them and being able to do that stuff. So it's great, man.
100%. So a lot of people have the question, we've seen people try
Yeah,
to do it.
definitely.
We've seen people make the attempt. How do you think you're going to be able to balance Division I wrestling and Division I football?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be a tough, but I think the biggest thing with that is with me is there's going to be a day when I'm 60 and I can't do anything, and that's just not right now. And I want to push my body and my mind to the limit and see how far I can push it. And I'm not in school right now, but I'm basically doing it already. I mean, in the mornings I wake up and I'll go watch football practice and sit at meetings because that's about all I can do with that because I'm not taking classes. And then in the afternoon, I go to wrestling practice. So I'm pretty much doing it already. I have to sit out a little bit for football, and then I report in like a month for football. So I'm excited, man. It's going to be tough, but the coaches, they talk, they're great. I mean, I'm excited to see how it goes.
100%.
That's awesome, yeah. And what's that, decision like choosing Iowa for wrestling and football? Because I'm sure the top football schools in the country were scouting you.
Yeah, so my football recruiting was weird actually. So I didn't have any stars or anything like that leading up to my junior year. Like nothing, just I was a good football player. I was solid. And then we played Liberty, it was a school in Iowa City here, first game, and I had like a 60 or 70-yard touchdown run, and I got up to like 20.84 miles an hour or something like that. And Minnesota saw that and recruited me for tight end and offered me a scholarship for there, and that's kind of how that got started. So it's great, man. It's fun.
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of people kind of assumed that there was a battle for you. And I'm sure there was. I'm sure on the wrestling level you had pretty much any of your choices of colleges. And I'm sure,
It's
you're
funny you say that actually because I really didn't get recruited by
really.
many colleges. Yeah, no, but I'm sure most of them knew what was up when it
Yeah,
came to that.
yeah.
They knew
Because
you were an Iowa boy.
yeah, I mean, like you said earlier, you were a born and bred Hawkeye. So
Yeah,
talk a
I
little
mean,
bit about,
I live 8 minutes away from Carver Hawkeye Arena, so Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, for real. You can't. I'm sure you as a kid were there watching dual meets, watching football games.
Oh yeah.
I'm sure. Talk
Yep.
about Gabe Arnold. We've had Gabe Arnold on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Great kid. Awesome to talk to. So he comes out and he goes ahead and wrestles this year at City High with you. So talk a little about bringing Gabe on with you at City High.
Yeah, I mean it's great. Gabe's the man. He's like my best friend. So he was on his one of his visits last year, I believe, and it was like being thrown around that he was going to leave SEM and wasn't sure if he was going to go to the OTC or what he was going to do. And I was like, hey, come check out City High. Like we have great coaching. We just got a super nice new facility. It's probably nicer than some college facilities. So we came and had him check that out, and he loved it. He loved the coaches, and I mean, it made sense just to why not get to Iowa City a little bit earlier and see what everything's about. So we got him here and started training with him and training with him all year. It's been great. I mean, it helps my wrestling out a lot because he moves super quick, and I have to really keep up with that. And he's also he's pretty strong, so it's good for my wrestling. It's good for him having wrestled me all year because I'm a bigger kid and I can move like most 82 pounders can when he wrestled 82 this year. So it was definitely good for him and it was good for me. It was a good balance.
Yeah, and who
For
knows? Maybe
sure.
one day we'll see Gabe go up to 97. We could see you two be the 1-2 punch at the end of the Hawkeyes lineup. Gabe Arnold and then Ben Kueter comes out and closes that out. So
Yeah,
obviously,
he's
I'm
on his
sure
descent going down. Actually,
he's going
it's funny
down.
about that is he. So we did like our body fat or whatever at the beginning of the year, and I think he's certified at like 149 or something like that. Yeah, something crazy. But you
Like
wouldn't know that. Like you look at him and he's just jacked. Like he's just strong, huge.
That's
But yeah,
crazy.
He could cut 40 pounds. Like
he sits around like 170 right now. So
yeah. But still,
Wow.
49 is crazy. Like a 20,
Yeah.
29-pound weight cut is crazy at that point.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah. It's just
that's a little wild to think. So
I didn't even certify for 49.
yeah, that's a little
How did he?
wild.
I didn't even certify for 57. How did he do that?
I have no idea, man.
He's hiding that body fat somewhere. He's got it tucked away somewhere. So
Dude, it's his legs, bro. His legs are like tree trunks. He's so hard to score on.
yeah. So I'm sure having him this year definitely helped you, and I'm sure he was able to win an Iowa State title, which to add to his lengthy resume of college prep wrestling at SEM, pretty much one of, if not the best wrestling high schools in the country. He comes out to City High and wins an Iowa State title. Like, I don't know many people who have been able to just go to, like, especially Iowa. Like, Iowa's a pretty tough state. So you just to walk in there first year there, senior year, and win a state title, that's got to be pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you really got to give him credit too, because he had wrestled, like I was saying earlier, I wrestled Tate and Actorborn my freshman year in the finals. He had wrestled him 4 times this year, and I think Tate's ranked top 5, top 6 in the country. Wow. So it was like 4 or 5 times, and he did it every time, beat him every single time. So it's to beat anybody 4 times, but it's tough. But I mean, he did it, so got to give him that.
Being a Iowa guy through and through, where would you rank Iowa among other states for wrestling?
For wrestling, I'd definitely say we're probably top 5. I mean, I would say like our really good wrestlers are like really good, and then like our okay wrestlers are like still solid. But like it's hard to compete with like PA and New Jersey and California. But I'd like to see a switch to like just one class like California does. But we have 3 classes right now, but. It's all wrestling. It's great wrestling. I mean, you look what we do at junior duels the last 2 years, just go and pretty much annihilate everybody without any competitions. So it's good, man. It's fun to be here and wrestle with these guys.
100%.
Yeah, because Derek's a PA boy and I'm a Jersey boy, so we always have a debate.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to compete with those schools, but are not schools but states. But I mean they're all up there, top 4, top 5. So it's just great wrestling everywhere.
Yeah,
so
like you were saying, Jersey only has 1 state champ.
Yeah.
So it's hard to disprove.
We got 2, but I mean, I would like to see 1. 1 would be cool, but
I will say nothing like the Iowa State tournament though.
Oh, we saw not stalemates. No, I can't think. Who came out and followed you for states?
It was stalemates, yeah.
Stalemates, yeah. So I know Stalemates, they did an awesome job following you
Yeah.
guys around, and that tournament was packed.
It was. I was a little worried about Gabe because I've had to be able to. I've dealt with that for 3 years. Like I knew what to expect. Like I knew what was coming. But Gabe's never wrestled in front of that many people, and I just was like, just be ready, man. And he got there, and it was sweet, man. He enjoyed it, and it's. But yeah, there's nothing like it. I mean, it's Iowa's a pretty small state, and everybody goes to Des Moines for a week, and you win the tournament, you're a rock star. So it's pretty great.
Yeah. So we got to talk a little bit about Iowa, the Hawkeyes at this point now. So you obviously you got Tony Cassiope there. Have you been able to
Yeah.
get your hands on Tony and get some practice in with him? And
I've only wrestled with him once. I'm going down to 97, so I'm only sitting around like 225. So I just kind of have to be smart with like who I wrestle and just making sure like my body's good and healthy. But yeah, I rolled with him probably like once or twice. But I'm excited to be able to wrestle with him next year and be
yeah.
able to.
So have you gotten your hands on Warner?
No, I haven't. I haven't wrestled Warner. He's actually I have wrestled Warner in the past, but I haven't wrestled him this year. He's hurt right now, I think, or something. I don't know. He's not on the mat. He wrestled NCAs and he's taking his time to figure out what he
Back
wants to do.
into it, yeah. So I mean, you like you said, descent down to 97. Was that something that you had to kind of get through with Tom and Terry, and then as well as your football coaches? Because I know football is a very like kind of weight defiant sport where the coaches want you at a certain weight. So it was like 97. Was that agreed upon by both teams?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go heavyweight, but I'm only sitting like 225 right now, and I just knew I could compete, but like it's just I don't think I'd be at my best at heavyweight right now. Not, I mean, it would be a different year from now, but just right now, I think it was the smartest choice. And I lose like 8 to 9 pounds of practice, so I'm already basically at 97 after most workouts, anyways. So it was definitely a hard decision to make because I mean, you win the U.S. Open, then you got to go wrestle Final X, right? So and that's another month, and then say you win that, then you got to go make that same weight
Yeah.
in the fall. So
Yeah, if you want to go heavyweight, you're gonna have to hit those Trent Hogue shakes.
yeah, exactly. And so I mean, I'm just looking to do that, and if the U.S. Open doesn't go to plan, it's time for football and time to get big, and then.
Yeah. I mean, 100%, because I think 97 is 213 pounds, right?
Yeah, 213.8 or something
Yeah.
like that.
Okay, so not too bad, not
No.
terrible on the
No, and like I was saying, I lose 8 to 9 pounds of practice, so I'm like 216, 215 after workouts, anyways.
Yeah, so you're pretty much when you're after practice, you're pretty much walking around a pound or two over. So
yeah.
not too bad there at all. So I'm gonna kind of throw the mic over to Matt, and he's gonna just hop into some good questions for you, kind of let the fans know a little bit more about Ben Kueter.
All right, yeah, let's do it.
All right, I think we're gonna start with top 3 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Top 3. Okay, I'd definitely say Dan Gable. I mean, I just kind of grew up being around him and hearing about that name, but yeah, and then I'd definitely say probably Tom and Terry. Probably
of course, some Iowa guys, definitely.
Yeah, two favorite wrestlers to watch.
I mean, they were very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean,
for
who
sure.
would watch that?
Yeah, and I know you've wrestled a lot and you've wrestled in a lot of tournaments, which means you've gone through a lot of shoes. So what is your favorite wrestling shoe you've ever worn?
Oh, I like Nike Inflix. I really.
All right.
I had a pair of Schultz when I was a kid, and I actually had Kyle Snyder sign them at a camp, and then I blew a hole through them. So it's probably those are my Inflix, I would say.
Nice, man. Yeah, I mean, everyone kind of says around those that they say
Yeah.
the combat speeds or freaks are comfy, Inflix.
I'm not big into it. Like if you give me a pair of shoes, I'll wear those for the whole year.
So is it crazy to think that you had a pair of shoes signed by Kyle Snyder, and now in about a week here you're going to wrestle to get a chance to hit him at Final X and take over his world team spot?
Yeah, it is pretty crazy to think about, but it's
part of the game, man. It's part of the game. When you're an elite level guy like yourself, I saw somebody, I think it was Kylie Welker said it in an interview where it was like, I want to wrestle so hard that my people I looked up to become my opponents. So I think that's super exciting.
I mean, if they stay in the sport long enough, it has to happen someday. So
I think you might have to, stitch those shoes up and wear the ones you signed out to wrestle them.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
That'd be crazy. Yeah, definitely. And you talk about like weight and like you being around there, but do you have something you eat like right after weigh-ins to get you really like locked in? Is it the same thing every time? Is it
Not
something?
something I eat. It's my nutritionist gives me. It's called super carb. It pretty much carbs you up, makes you feel good, and that's something that's my go-to usually after weigh-ins. But I never really cut a lot of weight after my freshman year. I was always just kind of what I weighed is what I wrestled, and so it was not nothing too crazy. I
He's a
guess you could
very
say.
small heavyweight. He's a very light heavyweight.
Yeah.
Not small, very light heavyweight. You're a very large individual. How tall are you?
I think I'm like 6'4".
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's a
I have a good throw into.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think so. I could see you be like a super jacked up 250, like
Yeah,
fully healthy, not cutting any weight, just going out there and wrestling. I could
yeah,
see it in maybe a year or two at that point.
yeah. I want to be like 245, 240 for
Yeah.
football, and kind of fits in perfect for wrestling. So
So what, are
I'm
you gonna
Yeah, for
play?
sure.
What you're gonna play tight end D end or just tight end?
just linebacker, linebacker.
Linebacker. Okay.
Yeah, I'd be not small, but for Big Ten football, I'd weighing 250 probably wouldn't be the best for.
And I mean, Iowa has a rich history of defensive football players going out there. We saw
Yeah,
Tristan Wirfs, great player. He's a big lineman, played for plays for the Bucks now. So you definitely
yeah.
got some guys to look up to coming out of Iowa.
No, yeah. I mean, most recent, you look at like Jack Campbell, he's best linebacker in the country, so it's exciting. But one of my wrestling coaches give me crap. They're like, "Man, it's tight end you. Why don't you play tight end?" And it's like, I don't know, man. I just like hitting
That's what
people.
I figured. I figured you were going to be a tight
Yeah.
end. That's why I asked. Yeah.
Yeah, I played tight end in high school, so that's good. I mean, you never know. It's Iowa; they move their guys around.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And it seems like you're going into college at almost a turning point with all these new rules and potential rules coming out. So I think that works to your advantage,
Yeah,
definitely. With all these, I don't know if you got a chance to look over all the potential rule changes.
a 3-point takedown or something like that, and you can't get riding time unless you get a turn or something like
Yep.
that.
Yeah, and now it's 2, 3, and 4 point backs instead of just 2 and 4. So they'll be able to get 3 points and back points and
Okay.
2 hour weigh-ins. Weigh-ins will be 2 hours now across everything instead of just at tournaments. You can have a beard. So if you're interested in ever growing some facial hair, you can grow a
Yeah,
beard now.
yeah,
Nice stash, yeah. So cool.
for sure.
Yeah, but you're going into college at a turning point, so it's going to be interesting to see what rules they actually do decide on for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just wrestling for me. So whatever they decide on, I'm just gonna go out and do what I do.
So Ben,
Doesn't
let's
matter
just
the
say
kinds of points.
time comes, Ben, right? Time comes. Your career in college is over. Do you stick with wrestling and win Olympic gold, or do you go off and play in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, man. Because like, I mean, that's the biggest reason why I'm doing both right now is because like I'm an 18-year-old kid and I don't want to just stop wrestling and play football and never wrestle again, or I don't want to stop playing football and just wrestle the rest of my life. Like, I feel like I'm at a pretty young age where I don't have to make that decision right now, and maybe 2 or 3 years from now when I'm more mature and I understand my body and what I want to do, then I can make that decision confidently. But I think right now the best thing is to just keep doing both, and whatever happens happens. But the biggest thing in Iowa is they don't want me to feel that if I end up picking one that it's like a failure. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Telling everybody, okay, I'm gonna go do two sports, and I end up doing one. They don't want me to think it's a failure just having to do football or just having to do wrestling. They
I mean,
just
hey, why not both? You get a
Yeah,
Super
who
Bowl
knows?
ring and an
Yeah.
Olympic gold.
Who knows?
yeah
Maybe they'll sign you to an NFL team and you'll be able to get excused for the Olympic trials and go wrestle. And that would be
exactly.
crazy. That would be the craziest thing to ever happen in sports history.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's gonna be fun.
You got the making to be able to set some crazy records here. I think playing football and wrestling. I think you're the guy. If I looked at everybody who's tried to do it, which there has been some, I'm not going to name names, but there's been some people, and usually it ends up just being football. But I think if anybody, just the way you're kind of talking about it and your mentality, I could definitely see you being that guy that does both for all 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like if it comes to a decision where I can go make millions of dollars, like I mean, it's hard to pass that up. But if my love's with wrestling at the time, then I'm gonna go wrestle and win an Olympic gold. So just like I've been
Don't
saying, it's
worry,
like
you'll make millions if you win an Olympic gold.
right,
People will give you money. I promise.
yeah.
It's the sport is
And
growing. The sport is
about that,
definitely on an up.
yeah. I mean, another thing about that too is like it's not just the money for me. Like I play these sports because I love them. You know what I mean? That Iowa wouldn't pay me a dime to play there, and if as long as I could wear black and gold on Saturdays and wrestle in black and gold, it would be great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
definitely going to be awesome to watch you wrestle and
so.
play football.
We got to
Yeah,
ask this question because Jacob Warner had a legendary walkout song. He walked out to Fat Bottom Girls. So we need
yeah.
to know, what do you think will be your walkout song at Iowa? What do you think's the choice?
It's tough. I texted Bobby Telford the other day and I told him it'd be The Stroke, that song. But I think it's Billy. I don't know who sings it, but that's kind of a song that fires me up. But I still got some time, so coach said I can think about it and let him know.
It's a good we've seen some interesting ones. You know, Spencer Lee walked out to the Pokemon theme song, you
Yeah.
know. And talk a little about some of those guys. Are you excited to get in the room and hopefully Spencer's still there? I know DeSanto's hanging around down there and everything like that, Murin and Warner. So are you excited to meet with some of those guys and hang out with them and kind of build the bond with some of those guys you kind of looked up to?
Yeah, I mean, I go to RTC workouts, so they're there, and so it's cool. I was actually playing Fortnite with Spencer Lee the other night, so just being able to do stuff like that. He's a big time gamer, so it's fun to be able to play games with him and do that. And Warner was my host when I came on my visit, so he's always been the man. And I went fishing with Patrick Kennedy yesterday, so just being able to hang out with all these guys and people you look up to, and it's a cool experience. It's super fun.
100%, man. So we got to know, Ben. You're a guy. Seems like you're in pretty good health. So what's the go-to cheat meal? You feel like you feel like shit after eating it. What's one thing where you're like, man, it hit the spot, but I can't eat this again for 3 months?
I definitely would say probably Cane's, probably Caniac combo and a large Dr. Pepper, and that's my go-to.
Big Dr. Pepper guy.
Oh yeah, big Dr. Pepper guy.
So Dr. Pepper needs to hit you up for some NIL, I think, after this.
That'd be a good idea. That'd be pretty sweet.
Pretty sweet. Ben, it's been a pleasure. We got one more question to ask you. We asked this question 170 times at this point.
Yeah.
You take 3 of your Iowa Hawkeye teammates in with you to the zombie apocalypse. Who would they be and why?
Oh my god, that's a tough one. Definitely, definitely Tony. I mean, he's just a bull, right? He'd kill everything, right? Tony Cassiope. What else? Who else? I'm trying to think. Oh, definitely Chittum. Cody Chittum. He's crazy, man. He would go crazy. I'm trying to think who else. I don't know. Probably Gabe. Probably Gabe.
Taking Gabe with you?
Yeah, he's big into guns. He's from Georgia. He likes he's a country boy, so he definitely would do some damage.
100%.
Scary lineup.
So Ben,
Dangerous.
let's hope next year we get you on the podcast again, and let's hope in the summer we see you become a world team member. That would be super exciting for you, I'm sure. So
Heck yeah.
hopefully we get to catch up here in the next year or so, and you get some NCAA titles going, some football stuff going. We'll be able to catch up. So it's been a pleasure, Ben. Thank you for coming on, and have a good one.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. It's been great.
It's been another episode of the Heavyweight Nation podcast. We'll see you guys later.